Hey everyone, thanks for taking the time to tune into this video. Hopefully this will be short and sweet, and, hopefully that's not presumptuous. This was a piece I had started, and I actually recorded a video of this, and it's supposed to be like a modern sort of like suburbia. I shouldn't say suburban, more of like a modern um, just multiplex condominium living area, and maybe that's suburban. I don't know. I'm lost for words. And and I started out with these electrical poles, and then I lost completely the the train of thought where I was planning on going with it. And I'm introducing this because I just don't know where to take this. And so instead of just forcing an illustrative piece, I'm just going to move on. Now, I can't move on in this area. I mean, I guess I can, but I don't have any recollection of the vision of where I would put the complexes or the condominiums and all that stuff. I don't even have it, so I'm not going to force it. So this video is in part about just practicing and keeping up with as much as you possibly can if you are interested in doing art. And honestly, art is the fundamental root of this channel, and so I will always base my my initial sort of like catalyst and focus around that. But this could be applied to anything. And for the life of me, I'm still cutting these offline, but that's okay. It's really a sketch piece, so I'm not gonna worry about that too much. So I just figured, hey, if you're starting off, and particularly if you're working traditionally, you can always redeem a piece for the most part. In this case, during the redemption part of this is I'm just going to use the back side. And case in point, let's say you wanted to use the front side, and you're like, you know what, my initial thought and process did not work out. What can I use this for? Well, I've purchased some fairly last year some watercolor markers. So if you want to practice on your technique application, if you were starting a piece and you didn't really like it, you can be resourceful and just use the piece that you thought you were not going to work on. And so right here you can just, and this is going to be quick because this is not really a part of the video, so to speak. So you can use a piece like this that initially you weren't planning on using it in this regard, and still get in some reps, So I love golfing as well, and reps in golf would be going to the range or going to a course, playing around, whether it's 9 holes or 18, and just getting your body rhythm in your swing. And so for art, and depending on whatever else you're doing, it may look different, but you can still call it a rep. So let's say tennis, going to the court, getting in, working on your backswing, your drop shot, your service, stuff like that. If you are heck, if you are a mechanic, maybe it's what can you do as a mechanic? Definitely study on, I guess, different things that you don't currently work on. If you only worked on a certain type of car engine, maybe you're looking at, hey, a different model car, and what is required to fix and repair the transmission in that car or whatever. And so like I said, whatever you're doing, whatever your interest is, and even if it's just a hobby, you know, just make time to get those reps in. And even if it's just 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes a day, you can do that. And so that's the whole thought. And like this, I mean, I didn't have any direct intention for this, just to use it as an example. But you can just look at, hey, you know, what colors work with what, okay, and you never know where that can lead to. And even with this piece, who knows? Just doing that may inspire me to maybe still keep this piece and start adding things in the background, and just me messing around with the new watercolor markers may incite a new inspiration. And the bottom line is, you're working in what you are doing. You're exercising that muscle in whatever that area is. If you're knitting, okay, trying a new cross knitting pattern type thing. You know, I don't really know much about knitting. Or trying a new yarn, a new material, a new needle, or a new technique, whatever it may be, or an area that you kind of struggle with, and hey, you know what, I'm going to take 10 minutes and just work on that. And that's what this video is pretty much all about. I will be using a Copic brush pen, and because I want to make videos. Oh, it's already 7 minutes, and I thought, okay, what video can I do, and to, you know, not just for making a video purpose, but that can, you know, add some type of value. And thinking about that, I was like, well, I do just need to exercise this muscle of just drawing, moving my wrists, getting, and even if it's something that this is not so much of a challenge, and illustrating something that I have a challenge with, or something that I just find difficulty connecting or expressing visually. So this is in my wheelhouse of, you know, just wooded landscapes, stone work. I don't know, I enjoy it tremendously, and I like being able to you know, stretch my mind of how to creatively what's the word, creatively express it, you know, although, you know, I enjoy doing it, and I've done it often, just ways to improve and to stretch and flex that muscle differently, you know. And so and at the same time still practicing, you know, because there isn't anything that I you know, have mastered. And so it's always just good practice, you know. I think every artist, or most artists, would have that same sentiment of, you know, we haven't mastered anything. And I think that's, you know, not that I want anyone to feel less than. I think that's a healthy mindset, because, you know, you're constantly growing, and you know, and it's just a mark of an individual that's, you know, they're seeking just higher levels of proficiency in what they do, and whether it's either being more efficient in what you are creating and the manner of which you create them, or being able to achieve that same final look in your piece, like within a certain time frame. So if, as an example, if it would in the past have taken me, say, 5 minutes to do this, but I've done it in like 40 seconds now, then hey, that's a growth. Now I've shed off 4 minutes of time to achieve the same outlook. I mean, the same outcome. And then it becomes, oh, can I improve upon that outcome? Can I improve upon just this little piece in 40 seconds and get it to look even better than this, you know? And it doesn't have to be like a time thing, but it's just about growth. And that's, you know, and I think that's key in any field. I don't want to go into breaking down the different fields, you know. So whether you're watching this is not just to inspire you to embrace like an art slant. I mean, it is slanted towards that, but it's really to, you know, give you inspiration to embrace whatever you're doing, just to embrace it wholeheartedly and take it in stride. You know, some things will require more time, and you may make a mistake, or time has passed, and like with this, and it's like, man, I don't know where I was going with this piece. And that's okay. You know, just set it aside and start over. You know, particularly say if you're writing, there have been scripts that I've been writing, and I've fallen into the bad habit of not laying out the skeleton of the script, which is, I shouldn't say technical terms, but I guess basic terms, the outline, where it's like, you know, beginning, middle, end, and having bullet points of, hey, this is what happens in the beginning, this is what happens in the middle, and this is the end, this is the conclusion. And all of those bullet points will help build the foundation of the full story. And I think it's healthy to do that, because when you don't, and you're in the middle and you're like, whoa, where is this going? That's when you go back to your outline, your skeleton of, oh yes, this happens here, this is the next main point, this is the next main point. And so there's been times I've just had to abandon just certain scripts or plot points, because I was just completely lost. Yeah. I shouldn't say lost, but well, I guess lost. You know, I was just I couldn't follow. I lost track of where my thought for that particular piece was supposed to go, and that's frustrating, particularly if you know, if you had something in mind of connecting whether the previous points to the potential conclusion, and now you're just stuck. And so now where's I going with that? But yeah, so it's just important, just, you know, to allow yourself a bit of freedom and an expression, so that, you know, if you do run into times of like, what am I doing, or where is this going, you've exercised that flexibility muscle to just reassess and make whatever necessary adjustments and move on from there, you know. So, and that's what, you know, I'm hoping that this video will do. And so even now, as I am doing this, I was my mind's eyes was thinking of something slightly different, but I'm still gonna go with it because uh, it's still practice, and it's practice of, okay, maybe I need to either have a more clear focal point of what I want to do in a piece and not go into it completely blind, um, and but at the same time trusting it more, so that even if it is something that I fear that I'm not achieving as I create, just sticking with it and seeing that, okay, can I pull it back? Can I reel it in? And I think that's healthy too. So that way you don't establish a pattern of giving up on a piece. And sometimes we do. Sometimes it's like, you know what, this is not it. and I think that's healthy too, to recognize, so that way you're not spending and really truly wasting time on something where you could have been able to apply that time and energy and resource elsewhere. And so, but the more you practice and you engage in that exercise, the easier, I believe, you'll be able to recognize when you need to pull back and be like, in this case here, I don't know where it's going, so I'm not going to try to extend this and draw it back and be so disconnected with it and then not be pleased and satisfied with it in the end. And so I think it's better to move on when you see the opportunity, and or when you realize that, hey, it's just not working out, and then that's fine, and just regroup from there, and then that way you're still growing, and that's the most important part right there, that you're growing, you're stretching yourself, you're seeing where your strengths are, you're developing your strengths, you're acknowledging where your weaknesses lie, and then you are also recognizing, okay, where do my weaknesses begin? What is the catalyst that kind of steers me by default to, I'm not getting this right, or I'm approaching this incorrectly. Maybe I need to adjust my approach, and how do I do that? And so, and if we don't put ourselves out there, and I don't mean like doing this, making a video and posting it, but just by taking the steps and working in the quietness of your room, or wherever you may be. If we don't do that and put ourselves even in those uncomfortable positions, then we inevitably won't grow and develop beyond our current limits. And with that, there are limits. There are some who are just more either gifted naturally, and certain things come to them more easily, and then there's some who have just put in more time, hours, and so they have that going for them, and that's just something where you just have to embrace and be fine with. There's no point in trying to break your brain and your body to be like, man, I want to be like this. I mean, it's okay to aspire to be such, but you know that some things take time, and allow that journey of time to take its place, because when you get there, you'll be like, wow, that I used to be afraid of doing this. I used to be afraid of drawing hands, or I used to be afraid of drawing animals, or I used to be afraid of doing a guitar solo, and moving from chords to keys, and strumming. I mean, from strumming to picking. But if we don't embrace those trying things, then we won't move on, or grow from our deficiencies, and sometimes it can be it's more of a self critique, and it may not be something that's truly a deficiency as we perceive it to be, and just speaking as an artist, I think we do fall into that where I know for me, I can be my deepest critic of like, that's just not it, that's not working, need to do more, you need to do better, and in some cases I think that is healthy, because where you do not become complacent, and to the point where you're not looking to improve, and that's not good. And so but other than that, I think it's just good just to like I said, practice, go there. If it's art, sketch it up, like this, just ink on a paper, and you don't need to record it. If you do, sure, but you don't need to. You can have a book, just do a little sketch and work on something either that you want to strengthen, or just do a sketch of something that you are familiar with and you may want to apply, like different different strokes. So like, say for this, if I'm like, what, I usually create like this, what if I were to go like sideways and go like that? Oh, what kind of patterns can I achieve by doing that? And then you do that and see how it fits in with your piece. And even if you're not doing a piece like this, just see how it fits in, and then practice that. Keep doing that, and you'll never know that you may develop a different technique. You'll exercise a different muscle in your repertoire, and it's all for your growth and your development. And so try that. Grace and peace.